Hi, everyone. First, I just want to say thank you for actually saying in and watching us present our projects. My name is Gerald Lofton, and for as long as I can remember, I always wanted to see how things work. I was always taking things apart and putting them back together, and PCs were one of my more favorite things to work on. Throughout that time, I was always eager to figure out how to troubleshoot technology issues, whether it was our internet going down or the computer got a virus. I learned how to solve most problems on my own by troubleshooting and learning from those experiences. And everything correlates with one another when it comes to any technology. During COVID, I decided I would dip my toes into the coding pool and see what it was all about. And I did a open source curriculum known as the Odin Project. When I started, I didn't know what development was going to be like. And as I progressed further, the curriculum was set up as an independent learning. So I had to problem solve on my own, whether it was watching a YouTube video, Googling Reddit, or Stack Overflow. It was geared to show you the general direction to look. And from that moment on, I decided it'd be good to go through a course that offered the guidance and the backing to what knowledge I know and tasks I could accomplish. And I found Savvy Coders. And I knew it was perfect for me. So with me being in St. Louis, flooding around me is becoming more of a common occurrence. So I built a weather app with the implementation of flood and water level data so that people who live near a body of water or in floodplain could have all the necessary information they need all in one application. So I will share my screen here. Alrighty. So when we first started out in the cohort, we learned how to utilize agile methodologies. So when it came to product planning and everything, we used SWOT analysis to give a good idea of what we wanted to do as our application, like defining what type of audiences we had, the outline of specific content that you wanted, down to types of fonts and kind of generalization of what you wanted your application to look and be. So like this, I wanted to use a hyperlocal weather radar for accuracy of a specific location of the user, and could also contain flood data and current water level. And the type of audience could be anyone, whether or not someone lives in a floodplain or flood prone area. They would also have the normal like weather stuff also if you're not prone to flooding. So then on from there, we want to use a user story map to utilize an MVP, also known as a minimal viable product, which for this, I have my main app with the forecast, a radar, and flood map with the features lined out with this line of what I want it to be before it goes public. So it's the more necessary information that I wanted for it to hit all the guidelines on each view and everything that we had. So like wanted to have a user input information for the flood map to show the specific flooding around them, and to have accurate water level data from USGS. And with the radar, have a live at least current radar and current conditions of the forecast for people who might not have flooding around them. And these are our wireframes that we did. This is kind of the general layout of what I wanted the website to be, with the 3 different views that you could go into. It displaying a current forecast and a 5-day forecast. And a future feature that I would like to have is for someone to be able to input an RSS feed from, maybe someone has a favorite news station that they follow on Facebook, and maybe it's only on Facebook, that they could implement the feed where all the posts and would be refreshed and up to date from that particular station that they might want. Up here, this is for my user navigation of what each link will lead to. So that this particular view is from when my application's in a mobile view. So I would have a hamburger icon, which if you toggle that on, it will display to all 3 of these links, which this landing page is the home view, which will automatically load when the application first loads. So you'll always land on this first, which that will lead to showing the current forecast and the 5-day forecast. Then there's the radar view that you could click on, which will show the current interactive radar. And then the flood data, which will utilize the water level and historic flood data. Then, like I said, learning like agile methodologies. One of the things that we utilized was backlog items for sprint planning and a roadmap. Even then, I still add on to the to-do list on here of stuff that I want to use, even though the sprint's done, gives me a good idea of what I still want to implement it and what I have done so far and all the done stuff. So it's definitely still stuff that I want to update every day, but it's been definitely useful into planning, especially in the second half of our cohort. I was our group's Scrum Master, so being able to plan on what still needs to be done, what was done, and that is able to troubleshoot and like seek out any blockers and try to overcome a lot of those blockers in a nice format, and it makes for good communication and especially product planning. So for our website, we deployed on Netlify for our front end. Is linked up to a GitHub, which I have our development branch. So every time I finish something on development branch, I can merge it into our master branch or that I have, and it will automatically update the newest master build on Netlify so that nothing on the app could be broken if you do code something. And this is my application here. So this is the home view of what you'll automatically land on whenever you load up the application for the first time. So here I have the current weather, which I utilize a third-party API known as Open Weather Map. So here it getting the weather information for St. Louis, which just shows us clear with a temperature of 77 degrees, and it feels like 76. And in here, I also utilized a search bar, so you could search in a specific city that one may want to know the weather for. Let's just say New York. And it'll change the weather. So now it's saying here in New York, it's clear, temperature is 62, and it feels like 61 degrees. Then down here it's a 5-day forecast. It's still a work in progress of like a future thing that I want to implement. Same thing with like adding a couple of extra aesthetics like icons and everything else to make it more visually noticing what the weather is actually outputting. Then on my radar page here, takes a second to load the server to wake up. There it is. So when you land on here, I utilize one of two of my own API routes I created, and these are random cool weather facts that I pushed up to that API. Like this one says in July 2001, the rainfall in Kerala, India was blood red, and which this is probably one of my favorite features of it, just because when I found out how to every time on the page refresh, it'll push a different fact up and display it onto the page. So it's not the same fact every time. And this one, sandstorms could swallow up entire cities. And this is a current live radar that's overlooking the United States, which I think we are in the clear today in St. Louis. So, and it'll also show some future data by timecast and futurecast and everything else. Then on my flood view, I have a snippet from USGS, so their flood map on there, which will show all the streams and rivers and everything with their water level graphs and everything, the data that they pull, which with this, you could actually hover like over the Mississippi River here, and it'll pull up the graph of the current, like the flood stage that's at, the current level that it would be before it starts to flood, with the current time frame and the current water levels and what's projected to be at, whether or not it's with rainfall or anything over the future too. Then then under here, I got my utilize my second API route, which I created that would be able to post into my database, which I utilize MongoDB for, and it's that database is hosted on Heroku as the server to keep that database up. And with this, just for example, type in name. Let's just do Savvy Coders here. And for the comment, let's just do demo day. Then I go to submit. And after that submission, it's actually posting into Heroku to push into my MongoDB database, which the database will store all that user input and information there so it doesn't get lost. Then down here, it'll show the customer's name and the input that we just put in and post it up into the API that I set up. And this is my index page that I had. And my favorite thing with the weather facts on there was actually utilizing the math random function in order to change up the fact inside my database, because I pushed it up there so they each have their own index number, and taking that random index number of the specific fact I pushed up would be able to spit out the random number and display it on the page after the page is rendered. That's why every time on the refresh, it would display the random fact on there. And yeah, there's still a lot of future stuff that I would like to do still. And yeah, that would be it. If anyone has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer for you.
Does anybody have any questions for Gerald? I
like
just want to say I love the homepage. That's my favorite part.
That's cool.
Thank you.
I like the fun facts. I think that's cool. And the live weather map too. Great job, Gerald.
Yeah, thank you.
Your
Okay.
presentation was really clear and concise. I thought that was really good too. I understood all of it.
I was going to say
Hey,
the
Kelly.
same exact thing, because I'm not a coder in the slightest. So I love how interactive you made your presentation. Just seeing like the questions and comments piece and seeing that in Heroku on the back end. I thought that was so nice. Nice ad, Gerald.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, we will have our second presenter then, Deionne, whenever you're ready.
Hello, everybody. My name is Deionne Carroll, and I've always had an interest in graphic design and computer networking. Although it was an interest I've always had, I wasn't able to pursue those careers back then. Financially, just wasn't able to do it. And so I decided to get into barbering, which is to me another form of art. And so I've been doing that for about 20 years. And I love what I do. But when COVID happened, I kind of had to switch gears. Well, I had to shut down the shop for 3 months. And that kind of made me realize I needed something with a little bit more job security to get through. So one of my clients actually told me about Savvy Coders, and I researched it, and I liked the JavaScript web development class that they offered. I felt like this was something that with practice I would be good at, and I like solving problems and puzzles. And I just felt like this was a fit for me. And so I wanted to take full advantage of the opportunity. So that's why I'm here today. As far as my capstone project, I decided to create a community-based motorcycle application where you could meet up with other motorcyclists in the area and, you know, create group rides and all. Let me share my screen so that you guys can see my vision. All right. Can you guys see the screen okay?
Yes.
All right. So here's my app. It's called the Moto Meetup Connect and Ride. This is basically a home screen here. And so before I go into that, let me go into my research. And I did some research, project planning, which was new. Me being a barber for 20 years, everything I learned was very interesting to me because I'd not, you know, experienced anything like this before. So to be able to plan and execute something that you had been planning out planned things before, but to be able to lay them out in the map and create SWOT analysis, determining what the strengths, weakness, and opportunities are, and what who your market would be, and all of that. Like going into barbering, it's a business, and you do have an audience. But I never thought of it like this, to put it into this type of platform. So it was very educational to me. And then being able to talk to potential users and get their feedback on what they would look for in an app like this and how it would benefit them, things that they would desire in an app. So these are my user stories that I came up with, and my user flow as well. Now, as far as the wireframe, before I began designing my website, we had to create wireframes. This was my original idea, to do something simple and black and white. But once again, we were, planning in the planning phase and speaking with users in the sprint reviews and the retrospectives. I was told that I needed to have more color. So I decided to make it a little bit more colorful. And this was the original plan, so this is what I came up with here. So I kept it fairly simple. I just really wanted to learn about JavaScript and learn how to make my website function, learn about the different codes and commands and all of that. So it's fairly simple. Have an about page, I'll tell you about the app. The invite page, it's more like I guess in a sense, an invitation app, like an Evite app. So you could create a group, pick a location, time, suggested items, and then you would submit the invite. And it is supposed to create a group with all of these things here. And once again, it's been a little weird, but that's something I have to work on later on. But then as far as directions go, I was able to get my API directions to work. So you could put in a starting location, ending location, and show the route, and the map would populate to show. And so in the future, what I like to do is create something like Evite, where you create your routes, you create the group, and then you would submit an invitation through email or text to the other riders you want to go on a ride with. And so that would be something I would create in the future. And then the register, I use FormSpree for my registration page, where you could just put your information in there and hit register, so that you could be on file. And anyone else that wanted to join the app, be on file there. So I learned a lot in this class. Some of my biggest challenges were creating the APIs and getting them to work properly. This is my code, and this is my index.js file. And as you can see on the front of the page, I did have my weather API. Right there. And then my link for my register page. And I was able to create that in my index.js. And I learned a lot about APIs and needing a key to access the database for those. So it was definitely challenging. And overall, I just feel like I've really grown from what I came in with, the knowledge I came in with. And I just look forward to continuing this educational journey and doing more with it in the future. So that's my presentation. Do you have any questions or comments?
Okay, I was gonna say, Deionne, I love your glasses first and foremost, obsessed with those. And then I know you mentioned a couple of your interests earlier on, so graphic design and networking. Very interested about those. Throughout this project though, would you say you preferred working more on the front end, back end? What do you think?
More on the front end.
Okay. That's what I was figuring. I loved, by the way, your original like black and white idea. I thought that classic look was really good, but everything looks great. Great job.
Thank you. I thought it was good too, but when I interviewed a couple of users, they thought it was kind of boring. So I tried to,
Okay, well, we might need to have another talk.
right.
Well, great job. I mean, what a pivot from master barber, over to web development. That's just, it's amazing. Okay, great job. Let's go ahead and see Nate's presentation. Whenever you're ready.
Hi guys, I'm Nathaniel Wilson. I'm new to the workforce for information technology, but am ready to dive into anything and everything development related. I'm a former and likely returning college student. While in college, I stumbled upon coding and immediately fell in love. I had always been a PC gamer since I was 7 years old. I was playing competitive games like World of Warcraft by 8 with my father. Coding and anything to do with PCs seems to be a natural intuition for me. The day that I found coding put an elevation into my life that I had not seen before. First, I'm very interested in technology and can't seem to get enough when it comes to meddling with data and putting together sequences of information that work. But development is a safe bet for salary and job demand too. Finally, the worries of the question, what am I going to do with my life, went away. I have found something that is going to yield a very high return on the quality of life without the sacrifice of hating my work. This is why I have excelled with savvy coders. I'm terribly ready to find the next opportunity. So about my capstone. Living in neighboring counties of St. Louis, I noticed an extreme change in attitude about the city. Visitors and new move-ins are extremely conscious and cautious of crime in St. Louis. Some, like my family, are afraid to come at all. Crime is at the center of people's worries when it regards St. Louis. As someone who is new here, this was a big deal to me. I am also a devoted dog owner. For my capstone, I am making an application for people like me. My app makes it easy for dog owners to find locations to take their dogs without the hassle of scrolling through Google endlessly to find dog-friendly areas, and then having to go back to Google Maps to find out what neighborhood it's in and repeating. The application shows the user dog-friendly areas in the city and gives them a data-driven safety rating. I built this with JavaScript, HTML, CSS, Heroku, MongoDB, Insomnia, SPAs, Jira, and more technologies. So I can go ahead and show you how it works. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So I put together a slideshow to kind of walk through the process. Oh, I accidentally skipped 2 slides ahead. So it's called Pup STL. It's a St. Louis dog owner hub. The goal was to deliver dog-friendly locations in St. Louis City along with the data-driven safety rating. It's for general dog owners with children, or dog owners who are concerned with crime. The goal here was to have accurate safety ratings, broad categories of activities to take your dog to, and then the primary goal of all this for me and people that I talked to was extreme ease of use. So first I had to create the wireframes, project planning, user stories to see who my users are going to be. In weeks 2 through 5, I was building the basic HTML, CSS, reconfiguring the basics of the website, as well as learning the other things that we are learning in the bootcamp. Week 6, we converted all the content to an SPA, which is very challenging, but it was very needed in order to make our application work correctly. Weeks 7 through 9, we linked the SPA to the backend, developed the data to use, and then in weeks 10 through 12, I made final touches, ready to present, clean up, fixing images, things of that nature. These were my original wireframes. It was designed as a mobile application. As things progressed, it became a desktop application with the mobile view being still in progress. The homepage features pictures along with 4 categories of establishments to take your dog. So public parks, gated dog parks, restaurants and bars, and coffee. It originally had a separate page for a crime map. This was restructured upon the realization that the crime map would be virtually the same for each page. I created it based off some problems I was having and that I couldn't find in an application. I interviewed users, people that I talked to, and it became clear to me that the ease of use was going to be the best part and the primary part of the application. So I used a color palette, had a purpose for the application, what I wanted the functionality to be, what I want on each page, text, pictures, anything like that, who my audience is going to be, and then obviously just the main idea of the project itself. So I created this logo here, created some user stories, researched similar applications, found flaws in them, things that I like in those applications, and tried to tailor my application to be based off those things that I saw. So I did a SWOT analysis, some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. A lot of opportunity with this one, considering crime is a huge factor, and there is a ton of dog owners in the city as well. So I acted as a scrum master for my group and the cohort. This enabled me to get an understanding of the core agile values. So we regularly completed daily stand-ups, JIRA boards, user stories, project and product planning, which you saw a bit of that as well, communication, help, strategization techniques, and regularly speaking with one another to try to get our applications finished in the correct manner. So the product, you can go ahead and exit here, and I'm gonna show it to you. So this is the homepage. Up here, we have the weather in St. Louis. This logo that you had seen earlier, I created that myself. It's a collection of images stamped on top of one another in order to try to use the colors of St. Louis the best that I could. Typically, this is what a St. Louis flag is, the color palette's going to look like. So yeah, it's a St. Louis dog owner hub. We have Tower Grove, Forest Park, Carondelet Park, so a lot of local places in here. And then obviously the 4 categories as well. So down here, there's an entire collection of the dog-friendly locations that I was able to find, as well as the safety ratings that go along with those. So this is going to be about 40. This was using an API that I created, and kind of like Gerald, it's stored inside of MongoDB, and I created that with Insomnia. So there's quite a few of them. I will say one feature that I really want to implement into this, but didn't have time for in the cohort, is to be able to sort by type of establishment, neighborhood if you'd like to, or safety rating from greatest to least. Down here, we have a visual St. Louis City crime map. So if I open that up, this is actually what the data comes from. This is going to be more accurate than a lot of the government information because they go off of a citywide basis. And if you've lived in St. Louis, you know that a lot of the city is actually pretty safe. It's a few key neighborhoods in there that spike all the crime ratings for those. So for example, if you live in Princeton Heights, maybe you don't want to judge everywhere you go based off the crime that's shot up and skyrocketed by a place like downtown. And so, yeah, this kind of goes into an overview, and there's some more information here if anybody has any questions about those. As you can see here, safer than 1% of US cities. So it's the opportunity thing about the application goes pretty far with St. Louis. Down here, I have a website that I implemented. This is not my website, but one that I created in here using an iframe. I actually was using this website when I moved into St. Louis and do live in one of these neighborhoods that it considered the safest in St. Louis. So it allows you to discover dog-friendly locations in the city. And then I can take you to the public parks page. So I have a little introduction here. Here's going to be a link to all the parks in St. Louis, all of these, which I still would like to get a safety rating for. Some pictures of Forest Park, a few notable facts for dog owners. For each of these little tan boxes that you see here, there's going to be a link to each one as well. So that'll take you to the Forest Park page. Same thing for Tower Grove, and this is going to be all the way down the line. I won't waste too much time clicking on all those. So Tower Grove as well. This is actually pretty nearby my house. It's one of my personal favorites, which is why I included it in the top picks. And Francis Park. Down here is going to be a filtered version of the data set that I created that's only going to show the types of establishments that go along with this page. Gated dog parks is going to be similar. There wasn't as many things to add on the gated dog parks. It was a little bit hard to find them, let alone to find images of them. But I was able to find a few that had some good images and some ones that I personally like myself. So St. Louis University Dog Park and Sculpture Garden, Shaw Dog Park, and then Southwest City Dog Park as well. And this is going to be the same table filtered down to only show the gated dog parks with their safety ratings as well. Restaurants and bars is going to be similar. We have the Boathouse at Forest Park, Rockwell Beer Garden, which is nearby my house as well. And then Russell's on Macklin, which is one that I would like to try out and actually drove by the other day. And because I was able to look up so much information about it, I'm excited about that one as well. So this is all the dog-friendly restaurants and bars that I was able to find. And then we have the same thing for coffee. So top picks, Protagonist Cafe, Fiddlehead Fern Cafe, and Zumi's Pet Cafe. Lori was excited about Zumi's Pet Cafe. She wrote that down and said that she might have to try out going there. And I think I will as well. and then the same table for the coffee shops. Towards the end, I realized that I had a minimum viable product. And so I wanted to try to add as much content and as much use for application users for the application, and to try to give them the most bang for their buck for this app. So here is 5 websites to make a donation or read more about dogs in need of help, and then veterinarians in the area as well. So these are going to show basically about all the services that they have. Most of them are going to be full services, with the exception of, I believe it is the mobile veterinarian services. So that's going to be the only difference here. Down here, you can make a submission. Let's say public parks. We'll do the name, just Savvy Coders, and demo day. And this is going to go to the same form spree that you saw on Deionne's application, and maybe Gerald's as well. I don't think it was Gerald's. So this is going to go to a backend database where I can research the place that you submitted and then see if I want to add it to my application. So that's going to be essentially it. I did want to kind of walk through the code a bit just to kind of show what's going on. So these views pages right here inside of that folder are going to be where all the HTML, all the images are. The images were actually the hardest thing for me to implement. As you can see, there is a lot of them, and they all fit essentially the same way, and they're the same size, length, and they're cornered with these boxes around them. So to do that for each of these with all images that are different resolutions, different heights, widths, all that was extremely difficult and took a lot of work. It wasn't until I found a single property where I was able to actually nail them all down and get them all looking in the way that I had intended for. Oh, sorry about that. So this is going to be, yeah, all the HTML and there. And here is going to be the headers, footers. You have some exports, imports. This is going to be the location schema that I created in order to put the locations in there. So they're going to have a safety rating, a neighborhood, a type, and a name. Some get requests, put requests to actually insert those in using Insomnia. And then also the main index.js file where a lot of the weather data, the location data, and everything is pulled in to display on inside of the pages. So I believe that is everything. If anybody has any questions or comments, anything like that.
As a dog owner, I find this extremely useful. And there's a lot of really good, information and tidbits in there. So you can definitely tell that you put a lot of hard work into it. So great job, Nate.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Jenny. I do have a question for you. I actually have 2 questions. So
Sure.
earlier on, you said you were a college graduate expecting to go back. So I'm curious, what did you originally go to school for?
I'm not actually a college graduate, so
okay.
I did.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, so I did my general transfers. I
Okay.
was actually about a week or 2 weeks away from transferring to WGU to do a software development degree. Upon researching a comparison between Savvy Coders and them, Savvy Coders has a way higher job placement rate, and I decided to go with Savvy Coders. Now I will go back and get my degree, but that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay, awesome. I was just being nosy. And then I did have another question for you. So on the safety ratings, is a 9 or a 10, is that the safest? And then is a 1 the least safe?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay,
Yep.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
All right. I will second, third, fourth that. Great job. Okay, moving on. We are going to see Vann's presentation whenever you're ready.
Hello everyone. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Vann Calhoun. I earned my associate's degree from Central Christian College of Kansas. With a 3.9 GPA where I was on the basketball team. I've always had an interest in technology and I love to play video games. So about a year ago, I started to take an interest in software development. I wanted to build a bot or an application that could help me purchase ultra rare shoes. Companies like Nike release limited quantities of select shoes that can resell for 5 to 10x their original purchase price. And so I saw an opportunity and wanted to take advantage. I also gained an interest in front-end development and started to take online coding courses to become a full stack web developer. After teaching myself how to code for a while, I started to really enjoy it. I envisioned a fruitful career in this field. And so I wanted to take the next step and learn in a more structured environment and try to get job ready. And so I researched boot camps and heard a lot of good things about savvy coders. This is what drove me to take the full stack web developer boot camp. My goal with this boot camp was to gain the skills necessary to break into the tech field and get my career started. During the cohort, we learned about Agile and Scrum methodologies. We became Agile certified. Gerald was crucial in organizing my project and workflow. I could keep track of my tasks I needed to complete and prioritize them by order of importance. I also created checklists that needed to be marked before each task could be considered done. During the cohort, I was assigned the role of product owner. So I managed the team Jira board. I started the sprints and created the tasks that need to be completed during that sprint. It was my job to keep the team on track and make sure we were achieving our sprint goals. I played basketball most of my life and I have a love for the game. And so for my capstone, I decided to create an application catering to basketball enthusiasts like myself. Some of the technologies used to build my project were HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for the front end, Node.js and Express.js for the back end. MongoDB was used as a database. Netlify was used to host the site online, and Heroku was used to make my custom API calls. Now let's take a look at what I was able to build. So this first thing I want to show you is just my original beginning the project planning process. So this is basically my navigation. So you would land on the home page, which would be the blog page. And then from there, you could go to the rank feature, the compare feature. The sign-in feature, I'm going to implement that in a future iteration of the app. We weren't allowed to use user authentication through the cohort. So that's something I'll have to implement in a further future iteration. And so from the other, you basically can navigate basically to the other tabs. Basically, that's how that works. And so these are my wireframes. I stayed pretty true to the structure of what I wanted to do as far as the layout. The design differed quite a bit, but the structure stayed pretty much the same. It's pretty similar. And so without further ado, this is my website, GOAT Takes. GOAT is basically an acronym. For those who don't know, it just means greatest of all time. So GOAT Takes. And so this section here is my takes or my opinions on different basketball NBA topics around the league. All of these are articles that you can click on. And so these are my takes. And then over here is the trending news section. So this is top stories, trending news, things of that nature. That's what this section is for. And so the website is fully mobile responsive, so it will work on your phone. And so you can come through, you can see the different articles that you want to look at. The hamburger menu is actually a basketball. And so I thought that was pretty neat. And so now let's dive into a post. And so this is what a post looks like. You have your title, an image, and then you have the body of the post. And if you keep scrolling, there's the ability to leave a comment and also a comment section. And so this is my custom API that I built. So basically, let's go in here. We can leave a comment. Let's stick to the basketball player theme. Magic Johnson. And then submit. And basically that comment will get posted to the back end of the database. And then on the front, I'm also making an API call to get all of the stored comments to display on my front end. And so once you're done looking at the articles, you can go to my next feature. I really love to talk about basketball with my friends. Sports debate is very popular in TV, radio, social media. So I wanted to create a feature where I could rank players. And so I decided to choose the NBA 75th anniversaries team, which is basically the top 75 NBA players of all time. And so there's 75 ranking spots and 75 players. And so if you hover over a player, there's a grab icon letting you know you can grab the player and the player's name will be displayed. And so you can drag a player. You got to put LeBron #1 because he's the GOAT. And so you can just start ranking players how you see fit. And so if you want to search for a player, just enter their first name. So we have Kobe if we want to Shaq, let's add him to the mix. And so basically what's going on with this feature is there's events that's triggering functions. So on the drag start event, there's a function that's saving basically the player's ID, the picture. And once I trigger the drag over or the drop event, dropping it into a new section, basically what's simultaneously happening is I'm removing the player from its parent node, which is the player space, and I'm appending it or attaching it to the rank space. And so that's basically how that feature works. And let's say you're debating who you should rank where, so you want to come over to my next feature. And so my next feature is my compare feature. And so what this feature does, it allows you to select two NBA players, former or present. And so let me just show you how this works. So we can type in LeBron James, and maybe I think LeBron's the GOAT. I'm just gonna pick a year, and maybe you think Michael Jordan's the GOAT. And so I'll just go and pick a year Michael Jordan played. And so this, I'm using a third-party API to get the player stats. And so once you submit that, the tables will be populated with those player stats for that season. And so you can hover over a category to see what it means. So we have games played, minutes per game, points per game, rebounds, etc. And so a couple things I also wanted to note. There are a lot of players with the same name. So if you try to type in maybe a name that's real common, like Luca, and then let's say over here you type in Michael Jordan, but you put 2021. Now, obviously, Michael Jordan didn't play in 2021. So the board, as you'll see here, you'll get an error, specify player one's name. And then also on the other side, nothing will be displayed because that player did not play that year. So if they didn't play that year, maybe they were injured, maybe you misspelled a name, then it would just be blank. The table will be blank. And so we come in here, let's put Luka Doncic, and then we can just pick another year Michael Jordan played, 1988, and it will display their stats for that season. And so this was my favorite feature of the project. It was a lot of work, and I just want to dive a little bit into the code of this. And so basically what's happening, I had to add an async and await to the code to make it work. I had to make the function asynchronous, which basically means they'll operate in an order of events. So I can't make my first set of API calls until I get the user input. I can't make my second set of API calls until I make that first set of API calls. And basically how this function works, you're inputting those player names and you're selecting those seasons. And so my first set of API calls are using that, the name that you entered. I'm using a template literal to make that API call. So I'll get back 2 player IDs. And then once I get those player IDs back, I can make my next set of API calls using the seasons that you input and then those IDs. And so I'll get back a JSON formatted object of the player stats. And then I can go in and just select which stats I want to use, save them to state, and then use them throughout my project using template literals. And so if I come over here to my compare page, you see my table data. It's just a template literal that I got from the API call. And so as far as future improvements for the site, I really want to add a sign-in register feature. So where you can come in, create an account, and then another feature is like a form feature. So you'll be able to create your own post, receive comments, likes, dislikes. I want to add more players to my rank feature. I have about 75 now. Maybe I could, it's not too hard to add players, maybe add a couple thousand so I can have a wider player base. Also ranking spots, the default is just 75 spaces, maybe add a feature where it can display maybe a top 10, a top 20. Also, I'd like to implement the ability to show maybe more stats or accolades on the compare feature, such as MVPs, championships won, all-star appearances, etc. And so that concludes my presentation. This project was a lot of fun. It was challenging at times, but it was equally rewarding. I learned so much during the cohort, and I look to continue to develop my skill set as a developer. Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I love the interface. I love the webpage, love the design. And then you also are fantastic at public speaking. But great job.
I would say the same thing. I was like, you're great. Yeah, it's super impressive. It's super unique too. I don't think I've seen a capstone like that. So great job.
Thank you.
Hey, Van, I really appreciated it. Watching a lot of different capstones. I love basketball. This is one that definitely, as soon as you said that this was what you were going to do, I kind of sat up a little bit, and you definitely delivered on it. I really like it. You should definitely follow through with some of the future iterations as well, and let me know when you get it done so I can utilize it at the barbershop.
Okay, thank you. I will.
Yeah, great job. Great job. Okay, we're going to come to our last presenter. Last but never least is Tyler, whenever you're ready.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Tyler Puttawitter. I have a background in development, social media marketing, audio engineering, and graphic design, which is what I originally went to school for. The reason I didn't continue with graphic design is just I wasn't finding many opportunities at the time. It was like 2017, and I just couldn't find anything. So I just started working different jobs and started making music. I've been making music for about 6 years now, and it's always something I've been passionate about. So now that whenever I joined Savvy Coders and learned we were making a project, I wanted to take my love for music and incorporate it into the application I was going to create. So my capstone project is a website that allows artists and producers to be in a virtual space and learn how to make music professionally. And I walk them through the steps necessary to create and record their first professional song. And I give them tips and tricks that I wish I would have known when starting out as a musician. My main goal of this is to cut costs of going to a professional recording studio, because it's very expensive, and a lot of people want to start out making music but just don't know where to start and don't usually have the money for it. So that's where I got the idea for that. I chose Savvy Coders because my brother succeeded in it and really motivated me to do it myself, because he knew I had the talent for it. And we've both always been very involved and interested in technology. Growing up, I was doing small bits of coding without even realizing it was coding. I was hacking and changing the code in different video games, all the way from Mario on the N64 to Call of Duty. And I just always wanted to make the games more exciting, interesting, and make sure that I always win. So that's my intro there. So let me share my screen here. Okay, so first I'm going to pull up my very, very simple idea that I had when we first started the class. So this is just basically explaining what I just said, what I wanted to do with the application. But originally I wanted to create a video chat where producers and artists could directly talk with each other and make music together in real time. But that had to go along with user authentication, which we didn't get to in this cohort, but I really want to implement that in the future. So I'm going to go to my flowchart, actually. This is just the basic navigation I wanted my page to be like originally. So it was going to be the home page with an about us somewhere on that. And that would lead you to a search bar where you could search for either artists or producers, depending on what you are yourself, and then connect with producer or artist button. And then also a form, which was originally a sign up or login that I was going to create on my next page. And I wanted to, and I still want to do this in the future. I want to create a button where you can, if you created a song using my website and everything, I want people to be able to share their track so we can see what you've done with it. And here's my user story mapping here. So I was just talking about what I wanted my website to do and what, how it could help people and the reasons that I thought it was needed, which definitely is the price of the recording studios and people are lost when they're starting out. And my demographic, basically anybody, any age that wants to create music. And I wanted my MVP to consist of an About Us page, a hamburger bar, so that it was mobile friendly, a form, YouTube to MP3 converter, which is an API that I made, and it was a challenge, but it was fun at the same time. And then create links to a music program that you can use and an audio player so that I can show examples of what I made using exactly what I tell them. And this is my original wireframe here. I liked how this looked, but after a while I was like, okay, it's kind of crazy. I wanted to simplify things and I didn't really like the color scheme after a while. Now I'm going to go to Jira, which really helped me to organize everything I wanted to do. So I have all my product planning that I just showed you here in my first sprint. And in my second one, I broke everything that I wanted to do down into different sections. I had a problem in the past of just getting stressed out with a big workload, and using this and becoming certified in Agile really helped me to just get myself more organized. And I had the opportunity of being Scrum Master on my team, which really got me out of my shell. The communication on my team was amazing, and I feel like without my teammates, I wouldn't have done as well as I did with that, but I loved that experience. Now I'm gonna get to my project. So here's the homepage here. It's nice and simple. For the image that I used on my background, I wanted that to be my whole color scheme pretty much. And when I was first learning APIs, I put the open weather API on here, and I kept it on here because I live in St. Louis, and I just thought it was kind of cool that I got that working and I never took it off. So I don't know, I like it there. And here's my audio player. So you can mute it, change the volume, download the song, change the playback speed. And I think it sounds working here, but everything I say on here and explain and what programs I lead them to is just something you can make with this. So I can play that example in a little bit. On the About page, I basically talk about what our mission is, which is to help new upcoming artists create, mix, and master their own songs and to cut the costs. And I have a form here so that it's hard to explain everything in just a few pages on how to record, mix, and master a song, because it took me years to get it right. So I want them to be able to put their contact info and whatever questions they have or what they need help with, I would be able to explain it in more detail and also link them to some videos that help explain it and basically run them through the steps. On my recording page, I talk about how the most important thing is getting your vocals down. Mixing and mastering it's a long process to learn, but if you can't get your vocals right, then it's not going to do you any good. And this image here is just of a mixing board on a program I use called FL Studios. But the one I recommend people start out with is BandLab, just because it's a free application. It's really simple to use. And the song that I have in my audio player actually made using this. So if you click here, it'll take you to their sign up. And if you're on your mobile device, though, it will actually just take you to the App Store. Or if you already have the app downloaded, it'll just open up the app for you. And this is my API here. It looks really simple, but I think it's pretty cool. So you just take the address at the end of a YouTube video, as long as it's not copyrighted and they say it's free. A lot of artists today that's where they get their instrumentals from. And producers on there want people to use them because it gets their name out there as well. So this is just the address of the video. Click convert and a download button will pop up here. And that will lead you to a new tab. But my virus protection doesn't like this address on this web browser I'm on, but I promise I'm not hurting anyone's computer. I wouldn't do that. So yeah, and I want to get into the code in that a little bit later, just because I don't know, I was proud of myself for figuring that out because I had trouble with that one. And this is just talking about mixing and mastering your song once you get the vocals down and get a little bit comfortable with whatever program you're using. And this is where it's really hard to explain how to do everything because everyone is, they learn in their own ways and people learn at different speeds. So that's why I really encourage people to use the forum here so they can ask me what they want to know and I can explain that to them in more detail. And this is just a little example of what you can make on the app. Not everyone's taste in music is the same, so you might not like it, but actually I don't think you can hear that, can you? Can you hear that? So it's just, I just made that on my phone. If you just follow the steps and use the form to ask me how to do things, then you'll be able to do that pretty easily. And here's the mobile view. So it breaks down to, I wanted just a 2-line hamburger bar. I just thought it looked simple and my homepage here is just really simple. So kind of thought it went along with that. And you're still, I just condensed everything down so it's mobile friendly and you're still able to use the form. And actually I didn't even show the form, did I? So you can just fill it out. And if you, let me show you, if you don't fill out something, it's going to tell you that you need to. So yeah, it's not going to let you submit anything unless you fill everything out. And once you do that, I also used FormSpree. So that'll send all the info to my email and I'll know exactly how to respond to them and see what problems that they're having and try to help them as best I can. And I did already convert an MP3 or a YouTube video, but I'll just show the object that it makes when you do that. So you can see here that it gets the duration of the video, the link to the MP3 download, a little message that's telling me it was successful, and then this is the title of the video. And you can see it's a free one. I'm not stealing anything. So I'll pull that up in my code now real quick. So I created a function called song input, and I targeted the video ID, which is just the last little section of the YouTube address. And I keep my API key and API host inside a .env file so that I can keep it secret and no one can steal this, basically like a password for me, but now you guys all saw it, so you can steal it if you want, I guess. And in my app.js, I just have it to where it's connected to my database, which is on MongoDB. And let's see, I deployed my front end through Netlify here. So yeah, back to my API code. Right here in my Axios call, to get it to show on my recording page, I'm just targeting the router.navigate and recording. So that's pretty simple there. And then to get it to actually show up on my page, I targeted the data, and right here, the .link is the URL to the MP3 download. And when I target _blank, that's how it's able to take me to a new tab rather than changing my whole page entirely and then having to go back. And yeah, that's just what the button says right there, download. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I also liked how I figured for my, it looks like my text is glowing here, but originally all I did was put a shadow on it and just changed the color of the shadow from black to pink so it would match my color scheme better. So yeah, I just learned so much from this cohort. I knew a little bit about HTML and CSS already from my brother, just showing me things and me playing around with it. And then with the pre-work, that helped me a lot as well. And I can't grasp how much information we got in just 12 weeks. It's only because of the amazing staff and the amazing students that we had, all motivating each other. And there's always someone there to help if you're having a problem with anything. So it was just a great experience for me. And I want to continue my journey in coding for the rest of my life, I guess, until I die. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
So Tyler, I like it. I like it a lot. I understand what you're doing. I think the only question I had is basically you're helping people get to BandLab to create something, and then you're helping them mix it in BandLab.
I just kind of explain like how to mix it, and it basically getting them a good start, and because most people don't even know where to start. And then also with the form, and I want to incorporate instant messaging and like a support thing so I can just answer people immediately, but that also goes with user authentication that we didn't get to. But I definitely want to continue working on this in the future and get all that stuff implemented.
No, this is a really great project. I really like it. I understand. I'm not that far removed from music production and things of the nature. So this is really interesting to me. It has a lot of upside. This is definitely something like a project that you can turn into something really profitable.
Yeah, and my dad is actually friends with someone that just opened the new recording studio called Fahrenheit Studios. It used to be a firehouse, and he saw what I was working on and wants me to work on something for him. So
I
don't know,
bet.
I'm just gonna do that in my free time. So it's a good learning experience for me.
No, really good job.
Thank you.
I agree. Great job. And I love the interface. I like what you ended up with, more than what you had in your wireframe and everything, but great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it changed completely. And I'm happy about it too.
It's funny how that happens,
Yeah, definitely.
Jenny, I was going to say the same exact thing. So I think we're just on the same wavelength today. And it's kind of ironic. My company's kind of colors are black and orange. So I never said that, but it's fine. It looks great. And then I really also liked that you talked about your personal connection to this project. You can tell that it's something you're actually very passionate about. And it kind of like you can tell that you're really passionate about, which made watching this really enjoyable. So thanks, Tyler. Great job.
Thank you.
Hey, Tyler, I do have questions, but first I want to say that this is so pretty, first of all, and I know that pretty is probably not the right word for coding or for websites or apps, but it's pretty, right? It looks good. It's an innovative idea. I too want to say thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. So if anybody else on the call wants to connect, I'm game. You said before at the beginning that you had like a social media marketing background.
Yes.
Was that right? Tell me about that.
So when I started making music about 6 years ago, so like outside of the job space, I was marketing my own music, but also other artists that I met through like Instagram and Twitter. They wanted me to market for them and to create like album covers and stuff because I have the graphic design background. And I used to make videos on YouTube about gaming and stuff, so I knew how to edit videos and everything, so I could edit their songs together and make a cool little clip that they could post on social media. And right now, I've been working with a company called Acor Healthcare Services, and I'm their social media manager. So I run all their social media profiles as well as Acor Technologies, and have a team of ambassadors that help make content for me. And if I approve it, I just post it for them. And I also make TikTok videos for them. So yeah.
That's so cool. And I know that you mentioned in your presentation that Agile really helped you break down tasks and manage those projects. I'm curious to know too, because, you know, when I think of Agile, or at least I've attended a couple stand-up meetings here, that it's more about maybe, it's project management, right? But it has to do a lot with flexibility. Did it help you be flexible with changing your deadlines? And can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so pretty much, I think all my instructors would know that I restarted my capstone probably like 4 or 5 times. I just started this one maybe like a month ago, but pretty much it made me not feel so stressed out, and being able to physically see and like how much time I have to work on something, I kind of break that up. So like this will be one day, this will be one day, or if it's like a bigger thing like the nav bar or the API, I'll give that like 2 or 3 days. And then because this one was about 2 weeks for me, so this would be a day, this would be a couple days. Color scheme, that doesn't take any time. I just decided that from the picture. And then the API took me probably actually 4 or 5 days to get that working how I wanted it to. So it helped me to, yeah, like I said before, organize everything and not stress myself out about a deadline. And then also, if the deadline ended up changing, just seeing everything laid out like this helps me know like what I need to get done first, get the crucial stuff done, get the functions working, and then I can make it look pretty later, you know? So yeah.
That's awesome.
And the communication was really, really awesome. And I got a lot of feedback that it helped me make what I have now. So couldn't have done it without them.
Awesome. Good job. It looks really good.
Thank you.
Okay, well, if there isn't anything else, that concludes our demo day for the August cohort. I want to thank everybody for being here. Great job to everyone. If anybody has any questions about any of the students, or I should call them graduates now because they graduated a little bit ago, don't hesitate to let me know. I can send you a resume and put you in touch with them. Okay. And now I have to jump into the other Zoom room so that person can run off to the other data analytics cohort. So thank you all for coming. And I hope to be talking to you soon.
Thanks,
All right.
Lori.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Great job,
Lori.
everyone, and congratulations.
Good job, guys.
Good job, everybody.
It was really good to meet all of you.
It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
And students, I'll see you next Wednesday at the job seeking workshop. Okay, great
Right.
job. Great job by all. You guys are
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay. All
Nice
right, I will
job,
talk to you guys soon.
That was a lot of fun. See you guys.
Yes,
Are you guys gonna be at the workshop?
I will.
I'll be there too. So
Man, that went really well for everyone.
yeah, it did, man.
That was awesome.
Yeah, good
I was
job, guys.
nervous.
Yeah, everybody did a good job. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, enjoy your weekend.
All
You
right.
too.
Take it easy, celebrate, guys.
Celebrate.
Yes, definitely.
That beer is calling my name, so
Yeah, me too.
And we definitely all need to keep in contact for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
See
we
you
put
guys.
our phone numbers in the Slack. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andre has kicked it off, so I, just reply to it with your number. And then we
Okay,
can keep.
got it. Okay, good job, everyone. A lot of fun. Let's get these interviews, let's get these jobs. Everybody, keep everybody updated in the loop, what's going on, and we all gonna be successful. But yeah, everybody's presentation was good, real good.
Definitely.
Absolutely. See you guys later.
All right.
See you guys.